Adam Bennett, good to see you, man. Former
to see you.
Blackhawks and Oilers defenseman, regular on this show.
Yep.
Brad Wall, you're the premier of the great province of Saskatchewan. Welcome.
Thanks very much.
Good to see Sean Rivers. Who doesn't remember Sean Rivers? Michael Holinka doesn't. Good to see you. Michael Holinka, your CBC radio reporter and one of our favorites as well.
Thank you very much.
You wore the suit to impress the premier, right?
I was doing my best.
Rogers is looking at even increasing the number of games that they bring the Buffalo Bills into the city of Toronto for. Clearly, they are courting a team on a full-time basis. Should the government really care about that?
I think the government's going to, each government, especially provincial governments that have a CFL team, are going to have an opinion. Fair enough. Should the government do anything about it, whatever that might mean? I don't know. I think the market's going to take care of the situation.
What's the government looking to do? I mean, obviously you want to court these guys because it's jobs and everything else that goes in. You want to bring this into your territory, obviously. But what's the government going to do? Why should they even bother?
The government did something before. The government did that. Was it the 70s?
It was the WFL.
Yes. So the government has stepped in before and basically put its foot in where it has no business doing it. So it's not like
I think governments have their hands full right now with a bunch of big issues. And I think the market's going to take care of this. I mean, the ticket sales for the last effort with the Bills were not that great. Although as we were talking about, maybe that'll change. Terrell Owens in TO, maybe that changes.
It's not going to change.
It wasn't because there was lack of interest in the tickets. I think they were just overpriced.
They were overpriced.
Who the heck's going to pay that kind of money to go watch the game?
You know what? There's truth to that. You bring in a big name, it changes things. Ticket sales go up. But you're right. I think the government has their hands full.
We've had big names in football here before, and it didn't work.
More than one thing at one time, right? I mean, the government doesn't have to shut down its business. Well, I mean, someone says the government can't do one thing at all. But I mean, the bottom line is, if the Buffalo Bills come to Canada full time, that's going to have a huge bearing on the Toronto market, and the Toronto market is going to have a huge bearing on your market.
It will. It has. I mean, Toronto's obviously important to the entire CFL, and in Saskatchewan, clearly, we're happier if the league's stronger, if the league's happier, and so. But I'm just not convinced that, given what we've seen already from the Bills, that it's going to be a huge threat.
Let me be the one to say it. Toronto should not have a CFL team. Toronto should have an NFL team.
Why?
Toronto is an NFL city. We have a Major League Baseball team. We're the only city in Canada who has a Major League Baseball team. We're the only city in Canada who has a Major League Basketball team. Neither of which is particularly good, by the way. Both of which are
I noticed
supported.
you didn't say that Toronto has a professional hockey team.
Because that would be stretching it. That would be using poetic
the hockey
license.
team will probably have the best record of the three teams that you're talking about right now.
Yes, exactly. But Toronto should be supporting NFL football. Yeah,
Really?
absolutely.
When does the Grey Cup come back? The 100th anniversary for the Grey Cup is when? From now?
Next year.
Yeah.
And isn't that slated to be
so,
back
I mean, not
in
this
Toronto?
coming season, but the next season.
Right. I don't believe it's been awarded yet. But, I mean,
Is that sort of the
I know
thought
the Argos
process?
are hoping for that. But what do you think about his comment where he says Toronto should be an NFL
I think
city?
it's ridiculous. You got a Canadian football league,
You've got a city
the
that
biggest
doesn't
city
care.
in Canada, and
A
you don't
city
want to put a
that
team in there?
doesn't care about Canadian football. I'm just laying the truth on the
you're
table.
Just slapping everybody in the face.
I'm not subbing anyone.
Wait a
Wait
second.
a second.
Wait a second.
I'm not
I
subbing
resent
anyone.
that.
What's
You're
happening?
talking about the city that doesn't care about
I'm
the
saying the
CFL. I
city doesn't
love the
care.
CFL. I love
Lots
the
of
Argos.
people
How
love
many
the
people?
CFL.
You and a couple of thousand others. Look at
How many? Let me ask you
What were
this.
you
Holinka.
getting?
It's a few
when it's
thousand.
doing well, is it 30,000 people that are
Yes.
going to the game?
Yeah.
Well,
And that'll be 10,000 more than the Blue Jays
That is a big crowd. In
It's
every
not
other
a big
CFL.
crowd.
Well, in every
I would agree with you in every other
Maybe not on
CFL.
NFL standards, but on CFL standards,
Sure.
that's a pretty
Yeah.
heavy,
It is
that's a
by
pretty good
CFL
crowd.
standards.
Why would you say that we don't deserve one here when they draw bigger than more than anybody else
We don't
does?
support it. We don't care about it. People are not passionate.
You don't care
No,
about
I'm talking
it.
about.
I'm telling you,
talking-
lots of CFL players and
Adam, do you
people in
think-
this area
let me
do
ask you a
care
question,
about
Adam.
it. Maybe you
think-
don't.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Do you think that they sell
like question
more Toronto Argonaut jerseys or more Dallas Cowboy jerseys in this city? What would you guess?
You know what?
No, I'm just asking you a question.
Toronto is a
You can't-
wannabe
you're a lawyer,
NFL
aren't you?
city.
What
No,
do you
no,
mean?
relax.
You're, no,
Okay,
I'm not
look
relaxing.
Toronto is
Can you
a
just answer the
wannabe
question?
NFL city.
Can you answer the question?
You know what?
What
And
do you think
we had the Buffalo Bills in here last year for the game. How were ticket sales? Did it sell out just like that?
Don't answer the question because we're out of time. Do not answer that question no matter what.
I wanted to get back to it.
Okay, and you can do that on the next edition
got
of
it.
Really Off the Record when you two guys are together. Like that'll ever happen.